got a question from our buddy Ryan, who's having a bit of a cardio issue. So basically what's going on is he's doing 5-minute rounds in his gym. The tournament that he's getting ready for at the end of the month has 5-minute rounds, and everything, that part's okay. So when he rolls, he says he stays disciplined with his cardio, right? He says he stays disciplined so that this way, as he continues to roll with these people for multiple rounds, they typically get the better of him in the beginning, and he gets the better of them at the end as they slow down. The problem that he's having, though, is that he doesn't have the ability to be assertive and go after it and be assertive from the get-go, right? He's not able to take control of the match from the start. And so he's wondering what to do, because when you go to a competition, you may not have multiple rounds with someone. You might have one match that you have to win, or you get kicked out of the tournament. And so he's like, this is going to be a problem because I won't be able to have that same style game plan. So first off, Ryan, thanks for the question. And what's going on is, you said disciplined, right? You said, I'm being disciplined with my cardio, which means you're conserving energy, okay? And when you conserve energy, it's hard to be assertive, okay? Because you're leaving a little bit left for later. While the other person's going forward, they're being assertive on you, they're going forward, they're not being conservative, they're being very liberal with their energy. This is why when you watch guys, it's like submission-only matches where two people are really going after each other. Because there are these submission-only matches where guys don't really go for the submission. They just kind of like do just enough not to let the other person submit them, and it turns out to be a really boring match. And then you have those people that just go for the finish, right? The thing about when you go for the finish is that oftentimes it's a kill or be killed sort of situation, because if you really just dump all of your energy to go after someone, a lot of times you're going to be vulnerable at the end. Right? It's the same thing in MMA fighting, right? When guys go for the fight, a lot of times guys will do just enough to win those rounds, because a lot of the fighters that go for the kill early on, a lot of times they don't last the full 3 to 5 rounds. And so that's kind of always a give and take. And so to be assertive to someone in a match, you have to expend energy. You can't be disciplined with it. You can't conserve. And so what you've got to do when you train is you've got to get out of this mindset, because a lot of times people will avoid the pain of pushing themselves too far, right? A lot of times most people, right, start jiu-jitsu, they have this threshold of pain that they get used to, but that's not really what they've really got in them. There's more to them. You can push through that, and you can operate in those conditions, and this is what you got to do. You can operate in those conditions because that's what's going to feel like. It's what it's going to feel like when you compete, right? When you compete, it's not going to be like a roll in the gym. It's going to be so much more intense. Your forearms are going to be burning. Your lungs are going to be burning. Your body's going to be aching. You're going to be so tired. You're going to be dealing with so much stuff going on in your head. It's a whirlwind, and it's amazing. It's a great challenge. And so what you've got to do is when you roll, instead of approaching these rounds that you're doing, like these 5-minute rounds, and instead of doing these rounds where you're saying, okay, all right, I've got like 4 rounds today, I've got 5 rounds, whatever it might be, I'm going to save a little bit for the next one, a little bit for the next one, a little bit for the next one. Instead of doing that, dump your full gas tank out in the first one, and then do it again, again, and again. And if you start going up against people that start to beat you, that normally wouldn't be able to beat you because you're so tired, it's fine, man. What you want to get out is you want to know what it's like to really dump your energy going after someone, and then keep going after that. And then you want to know what it's like to get to that point where you're in pain, where your body physically doesn't want to do it anymore, and you mentally say, we're still going. Right? You can still push through this, because there's been so many tournaments that I've been in where I've won, not because I was better than the person, not because I was more technical, but because I just willed through it, or, was able to push through it. One example was when I was a brown belt and I beat a particular black belt. We had a 10-minute match that went to overtime. I secured a last-minute Kimura to even it up because he had one advantage on me, so I just dove for the arm and sort of cranked it, got the advantage, and we got up to do the overtime. As I'm getting up, my forearms are just pulsing. They feel like they're swollen, about to rip apart. My lungs are burning. I get that, it's almost like you can taste blood, right? And I feel just wrecked. And then my buddy says, hey, Chewy, he's tired. And I look over, and he's getting up slower than me. And he's bent over, and he's hunching. He's trying to catch his breath, and he's tired, and he's showing it. And you know what I did? I put my hands on my hip, looked around, and I was like, I think I'm going to go for a run. I started doing laps as I was waiting for the ref to come back and start the match. I started doing laps around him. And then when the match started, I was invigorated by the fact that he was starting to become tired, more tired than I was. And we slapped, I went, and I beat him. And so I didn't beat him because I was more technical than him. He was better than me, technically. But I beat him because I could will through that pain that I had. And again, that's where you have to get to, for competitions anyway, right? You've got to push to that point. And so what I would say to you again, push yourself in every single round. Stop saving some for later. Stop being disciplined, right? Because again, to be assertive, you got to expend that energy. You got to go after it. And again, when you do this, you're going to run into a lot of things like frustration, irritation, because you're going to start to find that some of the things that you do don't work as well because you're not able to have as much energy. And that's perfect because, again, those are the things that you're going to experience when you're training or when you're competing. So, Ryan, hope this video helps, brother. Thank you so much for the question. I'll talk to you guys next time.